When the cable car accident happened, my boyfriend immediately hugged his adopted sister beside him. He would rather use his own body as a shield to ensure she survived. After the video was posted online, it sparked heated discussions, with everyone speculating about what they were saying as the cable car plummeted. No one noticed that in the corner, there was also me, covered in blood. Only I knew that when the two of them hugged and cried, what they said was, "Brother, don't you like me at all?" How could that be? When I opened my eyes, the video of the cable car accident had been trending for a long time. Seeing me staring at my phone, the caregiver casually remarked while working, "Do you know that young couple in the video? That young man is so touching. He protected his girlfriend with his life during the accident, but they were lucky, only suffering minor injuries, unlike you, who had to endure fractures and stitches." The air fell silent for 2 seconds before I softly replied, "That man is my fiancé. He proposed to me just last weekend." The caregiver's face froze as if stuck. Just then, a knock came from outside, and he breathed a sigh of relief, rushing to open the door as if escaping, but upon seeing who was outside, the caregiver's hand holding the towel froze awkwardly. Zhou Jingheng called out to me tentatively from outside. I ignored him, more accurately, I didn't even bother to lift my eyelids to look at him. After a moment of silence, Zhou Jingheng took 2 steps forward, rubbing his hands nervously. "Jingjing, are you still angry? I can explain what happened on the cable car. Don't be upset, okay? I'm really worried about you. Look, as soon as I heard you were awake, I came to see you right away." I sneered and finally gave him a glance. "Come here." I beckoned him with a finger. Zhou Jingheng thought I was giving him a way out, as I had done before. A glimmer of hope flashed in his eyes as he quickly crouched beside me, staring at me blankly. "You're not angry with me anymore." His words were cut short, because at that very moment, I mustered all my strength and slapped him across the face. "Is your neck supporting a brain or a tumor? Forgive you? I will never forgive you in this lifetime. Someone whose thoughts are as straightforward as a straight line to the brain. Just breathing is enough to stink up the air for miles." "Jingjing, Jing, your mother." Zhou Jingheng was stunned. He covered his face, looking at me in disbelief, but before he could even figure out what I was cursing about, Jiang Shaoluo from outside had already rushed in excitedly. She tenderly touched his face while firmly shielding him behind her. "Are you crazy? How could you hit someone?" I spat. "Life is dull and tasteless, yet toads dare to accuse humans. Looks like you both failed your middle school entrance exams and turned into little bastards together. I haven't even settled the score with you yet, and you have the nerve to question me. So what if I hit him? If my arms were long enough, I'd slap you too." Jiang Shaoluo was dumbfounded by my scolding. Ever since I started dating Zhou Jingheng, I genuinely treated her like a younger sister. No matter how irritable I was, I never uttered a single curse word in front of her. Looking back now, I really wasted my sincerity, seeing her still trembling, unable to squeeze out a single word. I continued my tirade. "I told you long ago to read more books, but you wouldn't listen. Now you can't even curse properly. What's the point of you living? Tie your hair into a knot and hang yourself, then get the hell out of here." "Jingjing." Zhou Jingheng frowned and called out to me, "Don't take it out on Shaoluo." I immediately turned to glare at him. "You get out too. Every grievance has its source, every debt its debtor. 2 purebred idiots. The moment I woke up you started talking to me with your excretory organs. You've ruined my whole day." Zhou Jingheng's face turned pale and then flushed, but in the end, he just clenched his fists and pulled the sobbing Jiang Shaoluo toward the door. "Jingjing, you're too worked up right now. There's no point in talking to you. Calm down here by yourself. When you're ready to give me a chance to explain, I'll come find you." I took off a shoe and hurled it at him. "Get the hell out of here." Unfortunately, Zhou Jingheng closed the door too quickly, and the sole of the shoe never made contact with his face. The room fell silent for a long time before the nurse timidly walked in and poured me a glass of water. I already had a headache, and after cursing those two, it only got worse. I simply closed my eyes and lay on the hospital bed to rest, but though I called it resting, my mind was as chaotic as a tangle of weeds. I simply couldn't control myself, replaying the events on the cable car over and over in my mind. At that time, there were 2 rows of seats inside the cabin. Zhou Jingheng and I sat in the front row, while Jiang Shaoluo sat alone in the back. Yes, ever since Zhou Jingheng and I started dating, whether it was for dates or meals, he would almost always bring Jiang Shaoluo along. Whenever I showed even the slightest hint of displeasure, Zhou Jingheng would sigh helplessly at me. "Jingjing, don't act like a child. Shaoluo is really pitiful, and you know my family owes her a lot. once he put it that way. How could I possibly refuse? I understood what Zhou Jingheng meant. Jiang Xiaoluo's situation was hardly a secret in our circle. Back when the Zhou family was in the real estate business, an accident occurred, and Jiang Xiaoluo's parents died right on the construction site. The Zhou family wanted to compensate her, but no one expected that Jiang Xiaoluo, who was only about 10 years old at the time, actually refused. Her only request was for the Zhou family to adopt her. From then on, they were to raise her just as they raised Zhou Jingheng. This matter caused quite a stir back then, with everyone saying it was a publicity stunt, but as time passed, Jiang Xiaoluo actually ended up living with the Zhou family for so many years. I have to admit, I'm a bit too soft-hearted. Every time Zhou Jingheng brought this up, I felt too embarrassed to ask Jiang Xiaoluo to leave. In the end, I could only swallow my frustration, force a smile, and welcome her. This time was no exception. Even a second before the cable car fell, I was still trying to convince myself, Jiang Xiaoluo has suffered enough. Since I'm with Zhou Jingheng now, I should make it up to her and treat her better. But soon enough, I realized just how ridiculous I was. To be honest, before that day, I had never imagined that the moment the cable car malfunctioned, my fiancé would desperately push me away just to hold someone else tightly. But it really happened. Inside the cramped cabin, I was thrown around in terror, and blood from somewhere blurred my vision with a bright red haze. Yet, from beginning to end, Zhou Jingheng didn't even spare me a glance. He just held Jiang Xiaoluo tightly, one hand gripping the balance bar while the other pressed her firmly against his chest, comforting her rapidly, telling her not to be afraid. Twice, I tried to grab the balance bar as well, but before I could even get close to the wooden bar, Zhou Jingheng lifted Jiang Xiaoluo by the waist, and her heel happened to kick me right in the eyelid. They seemed terrified that I might grab their clothes and cause them to fall too. Just like that, I soon ran out of my last bit of strength and could only collapse in the corner, watching the world slowly fade before my eyes. The wind howled, almost piercing through my eardrums, yet, I distinctly heard Jiang Xiaoluo's faint, almost ethereal sobs. Brother, if I can die with you, I have no regrets in this life. You know, I like you, I really, really like you. Don't you have even a little bit of affection for me? Maybe it was a long time, maybe just an instant. Zhou Jingheng sighed softly. How could that be? It felt as though something inside me had completely shattered. I thought I was surely going to die, but heaven had mercy. The cable car ended up falling into the artificial lake at the foot of the mountain, and I miraculously survived. If before that day, I had been filled with anticipation of marrying Zhou Jingheng, then after experiencing that life and death moment, all that remained in my heart was endless disgust. What a pair they were, acting like loving siblings in front of me, while behind my back, they had long since shared their feelings, playing with forbidden love to the extreme. What was I? Just a part of their game. Thinking of this, I suddenly opened my eyes. I had been so focused on watching the video earlier that I forgot to announce something. I grabbed my phone and clicked into the wedding preparation group on WeChat. I'm not getting married, everyone can just leave the group. Friends and family had basically all seen the video trending on social media, and they all fell into a knowing silence. Only Zhou Jingheng's parents anxiously jumped in. Jingjing, don't be impulsive, there's a misunderstanding here. Yes, be a little more magnanimous, forgive and forget where you can. I sneered coldly. I had never liked Zhou Jingheng's parents from the very beginning. Compared to my own parents, they were nothing but complete businesspeople. Trying to persuade me now is probably just to avoid ruining the wedding and affecting the future cooperation between the two families, but I'm furious right now, and anyone who tries to take sides won't end up well. I typed back directly, why should I be magnanimous? My life motto is to repay every slight, to be meticulous, to return tooth for tooth and eye for eye. Even when I'm in the wrong, I'll argue my point, so why should I forgive others? The others remained silently complicit as usual. However, Zhou Jingheng had been greeted with my smiles for too long and simply didn't believe I would really give up. He skillfully tried to provoke me again. Jingjing, enough is enough. My parents genuinely like you, don't let them down. I sneered. Phones are so smart these days, even pigs can type. Seeing that he had been shut down, Jiang Xiaoluo chimed in. Sister, don't be angry, the cable car situation was too urgent. Brother was just used to compensating me first, so he didn't rescue you right away. Can I apologize to you? As long as you can vent your anger, you can punish me however you want. Zhou Jingheng probably wasn't with her, as he immediately comforted her in the group. Xiaoluo, this is between me and Tu Zheng. don't foolishly take the blame, Jiang Shaoluo replied with a tearful emoji, and I felt nauseated. Since I've already caught them, they might as well flaunt it right in my face. I immediately typed furiously, Jiang Shaoluo, I heard green tea can cure athlete's foot. You really are multi-talented. I must have been blind before, not seeing your true colors. Don't let me see you again, or I'll curse you every time I do. Zhou Jingheng, sometimes I really can't find the right words, but knowing you is truly bad luck. With so many relatives and friends in this group, you're just spinning around naked, embarrassing yourself in circles. You two really are a perfect match, the ultimate pair, a match made in heaven. Why don't all my relatives and friends just leave the group, and you two get married right here? You wouldn't even need to change the group name after. Cursing them out, I immediately left the group, blocked them all in one go, out of sight, out of mind. I never want to have anything to do with them again in this lifetime. On the other hand, because I was afraid my parents would worry, I had already kicked them out of the group early on and didn't allow anyone to tell them about my hospitalization. As a result, it wasn't until several days later that my parents, who were abroad on business, came across news of the cable car accident online. Worried sick, they immediately booked flights back home. Before boarding the plane, afraid that I wouldn't receive the best care or might suffer lasting effects, they urgently arranged for a private hospital on my behalf. A nurse pushed me in a wheelchair to complete the transfer procedures. Unfortunately, I saw Zhou Jingheng again, and again, and again, over the past few days. To avoid adding to my own frustration, I had specifically hired 2 bodyguards to stand guard at the stairwell on this floor, with orders to beat him up every time he tried to come up. Unexpectedly, he got smarter and simply blended into the crowd on the first floor, lying in wait. As soon as he saw me, he immediately approached with flowers in hand. Zheng, it's been several days now, you should have calmed down, let's talk. As he spoke, he kept moving forward. I immediately pointed at him and shouted, stop. I think there should be some basic distance between people, especially between me and someone I dislike. I wish you'd just drop dead. Zhou Jingheng stopped in his tracks at my command, his brows furrowed so tightly they could crush a fly. Zheng, what's wrong with you? You're so aggressive. Nothing like a refined young lady from a good family. I almost laughed in anger. You're so low class, yet you expect me to be refined. Why hasn't the government studied your face for bulletproof material? If you're sick, go see a doctor, okay? Even though you're a mama's boy with hardly any money of your own, I'm sure your mom at least gave you the 10 yuan for the registration fee. Zhou Jingheng gritted his teeth as he called my name. I've been humble long enough, but you just keep pushing your luck. Remember this, you brought it on yourself. Don't come crying and begging for me to come back later. To be honest, I never liked you in the first place. If it weren't for my dad and mom taking a liking to you, I wouldn't have pursued you. The one I care about most has always been Shaoluo. She's 1,000. No, 10,000 times better than you. Keep acting all high and mighty. Let's see who else would marry a second-hand woman once I'm done with you. After finishing his emotional outburst, Zhou Jingheng's chest heaved with anger. I watched him coldly. Only at this moment did I truly see him for who he was. Get out, I said, clenching my knuckles. I won't say it again. If you want to leave here in one piece, don't bark at me like a dog again. Zhou Jingheng glared at me hatefully for a long moment, stomped on the flowers twice, and strode out. Over the next few days, with the care of my parents and the private doctor, my body recovered quickly. During this time, my parents, to vent their anger on my behalf, cut off all cooperation with the Zhou family. I heard that Mr. and Mrs. Zhou were as anxious as ants on a hot pan. The real estate market had been sluggish in recent years, and they had long wanted to use my family's fashion resources to pivot their business. Otherwise, they wouldn't have pushed Zhou Jingheng to propose to me. But now, with my parents pulling the rug out from under them, all their previous efforts were in vain, so they urged Zhou Jingheng to come and apologize to me. But surprisingly, he showed some backbone this time. I heard he was beaten several times but still refused to back down, insisting on marrying Jiang Shaoluo. As the only son of the Zhou family, his parents couldn't actually beat him to death. In the end, exhausted and frustrated, they set a condition: if Zhou Jingheng could revive their struggling fashion business without relying on my family's resources, they would agree to let him be with Jiang Shaoluo. All of this was quietly told to me by my parents, probably to test whether I still had feelings for Zhou Jingheng. When they saw the look of disdain and disgust in my eyes, they turned away and let out a long sigh of relief. To be honest, in my opinion, Zhou Jingheng is simply not cut out for this line of work. He has poor taste, is a mama's boy, and lacks decision-making ability. He might do fine as an employee, but he's definitely not leadership material. If someone like him could lead a company to success, pigs would fly. Thinking this way, I didn't take him seriously at all, but to my surprise, about half a month later, while browsing online, I saw many marketing accounts promoting him. The marketing copy was quite similar. OMG. I'm totally shipping this pseudo-sibling romance. Remember that good-looking couple from the cable car accident? Turns out they're siblings who overcame all odds to be together. Now they've launched a couples brand called V-Love, which stands for The Only Love, Real Couple Goals. Who wouldn't ship this? Below was a link to V-Love's official account, where you could see over a dozen sweet interactions between Zhou Jingheng and Jiang Xiaoluo. Finally, there was a live stream announcement. Aren't you all curious about what we were saying when the cable car fell? Come to the V-Love live stream at 8 p.m. this Saturday, and we'll reveal the answer for you. The comments section was flooded with people fawning over them. Honestly, up until this point, I still felt like it was just a frog on my foot, not biting, just annoying. But soon, I saw two more interactions. The only couple brand I trust right now is Fiancé, my boyfriend, and I get all our custom clothes from them. I wonder if you'll ever be able to compete with Fiancé. Sweetie, we don't compare ourselves to copycat brands. My temper flared instantly. To be honest, Fiancé is my family's company, and I'm the one in charge of the brand design department. These two can ride on our coattails all they want, but they absolutely should not have dragged us down, since they're asking for trouble. Don't blame me for hitting back. I stretched my fingers and started typing in the comments section. Could your drama be as scarce as your money? It's fine if you're uneducated, and it's fine if you're ugly. You can fix that. But if you're rotten at heart, there's no cure. In your case, I suggest you don't avoid lightning on rainy days. Getting struck might clear your heads a bit. Also, don't think the whole world is a giant cesspool just because you're maggots. Fiancé has never copied anyone all these years. If you dare say these things, show some evidence. Otherwise, I'll just assume you've already copied us, because you see in others what's in your own hearts. These comments were quickly deleted, but not quickly enough to outpace the internet sleuths. Before long, a crowd of onlookers flooded my account. Seizing the moment when the traffic was at its peak, I also posted a live stream announcement. Aren't you all curious about what they were saying when the cable car fell? What a coincidence. I was in that cable car too. This Friday at 7 p.m., I'll go live to reveal the answer for you in advance. All this time, I've never mentioned the cable car incident in public, even though I was the one who suffered the most from it. I thought Zhou Jingheng and I had an understanding. People like us always have to prioritize family, career, and company stock. The last thing we should do is bring personal emotions into the public eye, let alone tear each other apart over it. Not only could it harm the company's reputation, but it would also make us a laughingstock in our circles. But now, he dares to use this incident to attract attention and make money, and even dares to slander me, with my personality. I really can't swallow this anymore. Netizens shuttled back and forth between the two accounts, and the originally harmonious comments section under the official V-Love account gradually went off track. Everyone was asking, is there a class representative who can explain what's going on? Am I blind? I didn't see anyone else in that cable car accident video. Where did this person come from? Upstairs. This is the daughter of a certain conglomerate. Fiancé is one of their brands. Rumor has it, the young lady was engaged to Zhou Jingheng. What? I clicked in because of the fake sibling romance, and now there's a fiancé. Alright, I don't care about plagiarism anymore. I'm only interested in the relationship between these three people. The official V-Love account spent a long time deleting comments, only to realize they couldn't delete them all. In the end, they had to post a new live stream announcement. Everyone, don't let malicious individuals steer the conversation. We will explain everything clearly during the live stream. However, to prevent anyone from smearing us in advance, we've decided to reschedule the live stream to Saturday at 6 p.m. I laughed. Who exactly is trying to smear them and dominate public opinion in advance? How dare they play the victim? I continued posting. Then I'll start my live stream at 5 p.m. The comments section heated up again. 5 p.m. won't work. I'm still in school at that time. I'm still at work too. Why don't you just have a joint live stream after 7 p.m.? Yes, a joint live stream. As soon as this was suggested, countless people chimed in. Since that was the case, I had no objections. It all depended on whether they dared to do it. For a moment, everyone in the comments section tagged the official V-Love account. Zhou Jingheng and Jiang Xiaoluo were caught in a dilemma but had no choice but to grit their teeth and reply, "Fine." On Saturday, I made some special preparations in advance and quietly waited for 7 p.m. to arrive, due to the immense popularity of the cable car accident video online, and the unique backgrounds of the three of us. Netizens eager for gossip had already gathered early to wait. Within just a few minutes of starting the live stream, tens of thousands of people flooded into the room, looking at Zhou Jingheng and Jiang Xiaoluo on the screen, whom I hadn't seen in a long time. I couldn't help but let out a scornful laugh. Yet, with just that one laugh, Jiang Xiaoluo actually shrank behind Zhou Jingheng. A few comments quickly floated across the screen. Why do I feel like Jiang is a bit afraid of too? Who wouldn't be afraid of such a strong woman? The smile on my lips grew even more mocking. This was just Jiang Xiaoluo's usual tactic, using a fragile appearance to make everyone think she was pitiful. I had been fooled by her many times before. Seeing me staring at her, Jiang Xiaoluo seemed even more frightened. She spoke in a trembling, timid voice, "Sister." I rolled my eyes directly. "Speak properly, or I'll come to your house and use a slap to add blush to your cheeks." Zhou Jingheng seemed a bit nervous, not having spoken since the broadcast began. Now, hearing me confront Jiang Xiaoluo, he suddenly came to life, pulling her behind him and frowning at me. "Why are you still so aggressive, after so many days in the hospital? Haven't you learned to cultivate your temperament at all?" I sneered. "Without a plastic bag, you're already putting on airs. Talking about cultivating your temperament, if a dog bites you, wouldn't you get angry? My suggestion is, if you can't stand me, you can just go die. I'm not going to change anyway." Zhou Jingheng was so angry he couldn't speak, and the barrage of comments scrolled even faster. "Brother and sister, don't rush to argue. First answer our questions." Yeah, I still have homework to do. Can you drop the gossip before you start fighting?" Since there were so many questions in the comments, everyone suggested we randomly connect with another netizen to represent them and ask questions. I did just that and matched with a female college student. She screamed in excitement and immediately asked me, "Sis, were you really in the cable car at the time?" I nodded. Zhou Jingheng and Jiang Xiaoluo didn't refute it. The girl understood and sighed to me. "Sis, you're really composed, keeping quiet for so long." Then she turned to Zhou Jingheng and asked, "Mr. Zhou, what's your relationship with these two sisters?" A vein on Zhou Jingheng's temple visibly twitched. The girl quickly added, "Let's not lie. Liars get struck by lightning." Zhou Jingheng said with a dark expression, "Tu Zheng was my former fiancé, and Xiaoluo is my current fiancé." The girl let out a meaningful, "Oh," and turned back to me. "So, when the cable car accident happened, which one of you was his fiancé?" I scoffed. My live stream exploded instantly. The reason the cable car accident video spread so widely was because it was pure romance. Someone risking their life to save their loved one. How touching. But now everyone realized the truth. The real loved one was lying half dead somewhere out of sight, while Zhou Jingheng chose to protect someone else. No way. Pure romance just turned into a third-party drama. My tears were wasted. The comment above is too harsh. In a life-or-death situation, protecting your sister isn't wrong, right? Oh my god. Is that commenter a paid troll? What sister? Weren't they marketing it as a forbidden love finally coming to fruition? "Excuse me, sister, my foot." I feel bad for the young lady now. Looking at the live stream background, she's still in the hospital, probably badly injured. Regarding this matter, I'd like to explain it to everyone. Zhou Jingheng watched the comments scrolling faster and faster and spoke rapidly. "I hope everyone can give me some time and not jump to conclusions so quickly." I had already expected this. From the moment he had no choice but to agree to the live stream, he must have thought of it. How could he not have prepared something in advance? Sure enough, as everyone quieted down in anticipation, Zhou Jingheng suddenly burst into tears. Zhou Jingheng choked up and said, "I don't know if everyone can understand this, but in our social circle, suitability is often more important than affection. Besides, everyone should also understand that given my relationship with Xiaoluo, the feelings between us are somewhat difficult to talk about." I admit I wasn't brave enough to resist the pressure from the outside world and ultimately accepted a marriage of convenience. However, I swear that from the moment I got engaged to Tu Zheng, Xiaoluo, and I never crossed any boundaries. I respect my fiancé and have been trying my best to fall in love with her, but fate loves to play tricks, and that incident you all know about happened. I truly thought I was going to die, which is why I instinctively held Xiaoluo tightly and confessed my feelings to her, but I never expected I would survive. I feel this is a sign from fate, so I want to be brave this once. I'm willing to compensate Tu Zheng for all her medical expenses, emotional distress, and expenses during our relationship. I only ask that she, and all of you, give me a chance to stand by Xiao Luo's side." After Zhou Jingheng finished speaking in a torrent of words, he bowed deeply to the camera. Large teardrops fell onto the light gray carpet he had deliberately chosen, leaving obvious wet stains. Jiang Xiaoluo also stood behind him, crying so hard she almost fainted. The scene was truly pitiful, and the tone of the comments gradually shifted. "Sigh, seeing him cry like this, we don't know the whole story, so let's be merciful. I think Zhou Jingheng is quite sincere. Marriages among the wealthy are indeed different from those of ordinary people. It's not as simple as choosing whoever you like. Besides, he's offered a compensation plan, which sounds quite reasonable. Doesn't anyone think Tu Zheng is too calm?" "Of course she's calm. It's been said it's a marriage of convenience. How could she have invested too much genuine emotion? Making such a big fuss might just be because the interests weren't properly negotiated." I glanced curiously at these comments and curled my lips toward the camera. "Zhou Jingheng, is there anything else you want to say?" Zhou Jingheng's lips trembled. "Not for now." I nodded. "Then I'll begin." I made a pause gesture toward the camera. "Hiring trolls, finding a PR team, and drafting statements, none of that comes cheap. Right, sometimes I really think that if we could just attach a faucet to your brain, we could solve Africa's water crisis overnight." "What era are you living in? Do you still believe you can win a public opinion battle by playing the victim? Words aren't just something you flap your lips about, you need evidence. But I'm guessing you don't have any. Well, sorry not sorry. I'll go ahead and present mine first. Dear netizens, don't rush to flood the comments just yet. I've prepared a PDF to address 3 main points. First, whether Zhou Jingheng and I entered into a marriage of convenience with zero emotional foundation. Second, after Zhou Jingheng and I confirmed our relationship, whether Jiang Xiaoluo maintained the appropriate boundaries expected of a normal sister. And third, the detailed report on the cable car accident. As soon as I finished speaking, both Zhou Jingheng and Jiang Xiaoluo stopped crying. Even the female college student connected with us via live stream was stunned. "Wait, sis, you're way ahead of the game. Don't tell me you prepared all this in advance." I nodded with a smile. After all, I was someone who could have gotten into a C9 university based on my exam scores alone. Though I ultimately chose to study abroad, I'm not like some people who paid their way into a shady Russian diploma mill, then packaged themselves as elite returnees, all while being unable to string together a coherent argument and relying solely on playing the victim to win sympathy. For a moment, the barrage of comments slowed by half, probably because everyone had gone off to dig into the drama. Soon, they pieced together a truth from the evidence I provided that was completely different from what Zhou Jingheng had claimed. Zhou Jingheng kept insisting that ours was a marriage of convenience and that he had no choice, but in reality, he was the one who actively pursued me, showering me with sweet words and constant attention, which slowly won me over and led me to accept his proposal. As for Jiang Xiaoluo, it was even more absurd. She participated in almost every date Zhou Jingheng and I had. Every time, she would either be holding onto his arm, wearing his clothes, playing with his phone, or even showing up in outfits that were strikingly similar in color to his. Even the restaurant staff would get confused about our relationships, thinking the two of them were the couple. I laid out every single one of these incidents. The first batch of viewers quickly returned with exclamations, rich in both text and images, with key points highlighted. "It takes real academic skill to produce something like this. Sis, you're truly amazing." "Oh my, men's words are like an old lady's teeth. Few of them are real." "This guy kept saying he loved Jiang Xiaoluo the most, but he was actually trying to win you over the whole time. Isn't that just wanting to have his cake and eat it too?" I almost fell for his act. Zhou Jingheng and Jiang Xiaoluo were already stunned. They had originally planned to leverage this wave of attention to launch a new brand, using it as a lever to lift the entire company's fashion industry and help the declining company successfully pivot. Unfortunately, they popped the champagne too early. They had planned for everything, except they hadn't factored in me, the wild card. As the barrage of criticism in the comments grew and the hired trolls couldn't control the narrative anymore, the two of them made a few futile attempts to explain before hurriedly logging off. Meanwhile, I happily sent out several big red envelopes to celebrate my escape from a scumbag, spreading the joy far and wide. After a moment's thought, I added, "Those who just criticized me as fence-sitters aren't allowed to claim these." After ending the live stream, it suddenly dawned on me that I hadn't explained the plagiarism issue. However, everyone was so overwhelmed by wave after wave of shocking revelations that they seemed to have forgotten about this minor detail. Some people in the industry had also watched the live stream. Even though we were merely acquaintances, they sent me messages. "Xiao Tu, you and Xiao Zhou are making such a scene. It's really unbecoming. Aren't you worried about damaging the company's image?" I sneered, quickly typing out responses that left them speechless. Suddenly, I felt like I had gained some insight. For so long, the education I had received was always, a young lady from a wealthy family must act like one, be gentle, composed, maintain dignity, and never openly clash with anyone. I had once strictly followed these rules, but what did I get in return? Heartless betrayal, shameless backstabbing, and accusations filled with lies. In a way, I have to thank Zhou Jingheng and Jiang Xiaoluo. If they hadn't opened the door to this new world for me, I would never have known how satisfying it is to settle scores when you have a grudge. What's dignified or not, what makes me happy is what's dignified. Since the official V-Love account got attacked by netizens, it hasn't posted any updates. My parents sighed a few times, saying they had prepared a bunch of goods that were originally expected to sell out, but now they're all piled up in the warehouse, and they have to figure out a new plan. It's not that I look down on them, I chuckled. Well, actually, I do look down on them. With just the two of them, there's no way they can turn things around. If they keep pushing, the Zhou family will lose everything. I just said it casually, but it felt like a prophecy. Soon, Zhou Jingheng and Jiang Xiaoluo surprised me again. By then, I had already been discharged from the hospital, and my personal account had gained over 1 million followers, with a bunch of people urging me to update my tutorials on creative ways to roast others. I helplessly changed my profile picture to a lotus flower. I really don't curse at people normally. The comments section was flooded with Lu Yu memes. Really, I don't believe it. Amidst these copy-pasted memes, one comment stood out. Someone posted a photo. "Hey everyone, are the models in this store Zhou Jingheng and Jiang Xiaoluo? I went to the mall today and entered this store, and there was a huge poster hanging inside. The more I looked at it, the more I felt the silhouettes looked like them. Are they afraid of getting criticized online and have switched to opening physical stores?" I clicked on the photo to take a look. By the time I closed it, there were already many replies. "My eyes are like a ruler. That silhouette is definitely them. I just searched for this brand, and it's recently opened in many malls, with a bunch of marketing soft articles online." I also searched, and I feel like their new season's main products look so familiar. Sometimes I have to admire the internet users' search skills. Even someone like me, who has known Zhou Jingheng and Jiang Xiaoluo for a long time, couldn't confirm whether it was them in the poster, yet netizens have already dug up everything related to this brand. It turns out V-Love has indeed rebranded and opened a physical store, and the people on the poster are indeed Zhou and Jiang. I couldn't help but feel even more inclined to mock them. It seems I wasn't wrong. What Zhou Jingheng has on his neck is indeed a tumor. Any normal person would know to lay low at a time like this, but he, on the other hand, couldn't wait to open a physical store to sell his goods, and even had to subtly let others witness their love, with such a huge poster hanging up. Isn't it just asking for trouble? Soon, netizens dug up more information. The brand's current season's main collection bears a striking resemblance to the award-winning works from a competition abroad. I clicked in to take a look and couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. This boomerang came back fast. Zhou Jingheng has invested a fortune this time, and if he still can't make a profit, his funding chain will likely break. So, as the public opinion grew more intense, he had no choice but to step forward and respond. "This brand is indeed ours, but we're not plagiarizing, we're paying homage. Besides, SOT also paid homage to that award-winning series, so why aren't you attacking too, Zheng? If we're considered plagiarizers, then SOT is plagiarizing too." I laughed. This is a case of weak reasoning and a lack of confidence, trying to drag me down with them. I directly posted the 9 design images from the award-winning series. "Wipe the sleep from your eyes and take a closer look before you speak. See whose signature is in the corner. I'm still alive, so there's no need for you to pay homage. Are your English names Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V? You love copying so much." Yes, these were the works I submitted for a competition while studying abroad. The official website had just photoshopped out my signature to make the display look better. Picking a fight with me. Zhou Jingheng has really kicked an iron plate this time. He clearly didn't expect that, even after plagiarizing from abroad, he would still end up copying from me. But at this moment, Admitting fault was clearly not an option, otherwise, both the brand and he himself would be permanently branded as plagiarists. So that evening, Zhou Jingheng posted another set of comparison images. Despite the designs being completely unrelated, he forcefully linked them together and continued to accuse me of plagiarism. Don't you all think these designs look similar? I immediately fired back with my main account. You and Shakespeare have something in common too. You're a fool, and your brain and intestines are somewhat alike. Did you stuff what's in your intestines into your brain? Instead of barking at me, why don't you go guard the gate at the neighborhood entrance? At least that would give your dog-like existence some value. The Zhou family had invested heavily during this period but saw no returns. Zhou Jingheng clearly couldn't even afford to hire internet trolls anymore and was soon mocked into retreat by a swarm of netizens. Even his offline stores were spray-painted overnight with the words, "Plagiarist brand." Not even dogs would buy it. It seems the Zhou family is about to go under. Mr. and Mrs. Zhou actually stooped so low as to personally bring gifts to my doorstep. Zhou Jingheng and Jiang Xiaoluo stood dejectedly in front, looking like they were escorting war criminals. When my mom opened the door and saw this scene, she was momentarily stunned. Mrs. Zhou immediately warmly linked arms with her. "Dear in-law, it's been a while." My mom snapped back to reality and expressionlessly withdrew her hand. Just as Mrs. Zhou tried to step into the living room, I blocked her path with my arm. "No need to come in. If you have something to say, say it here." Mr. Zhou quickly reached out, desperately clinging to the door crack. "We have something to say." "We do. We came today to ask your family to acquire that offline brand, for you. It's just a drop in the bucket." I looked up at him. "Uncle, why don't you go home and install a money printing machine? At least that would make some sense. Have you ever considered why our family should clean up your mess?" Tu Zheng. Zhou Jingheng immediately stepped forward, forcefully pushing the door open. "How dare you speak like that? I'll speak however I want. As for you, your brain isn't even as big as a sunflower seed. Do you even deserve to talk to me? If you're really struggling, go see a neurologist. Check if God not only closed the door for you but also slammed it on your brain. Otherwise, how could there be someone as useless and destructive as you?" Zhou Jingheng's face instantly darkened. I added another jab. "A dark face can't hide the fact that you're an idiot." Seeing us argue more and more intensely, Mrs. Zhou quickly pulled him behind her. "Don't be angry, Zheng." She pushed Jiang Xiaoluo forward and slapped her shoulder hard a few times. "It's all this little vixen's fault. If it weren't for her, how could you and Jingheng have ended up like this today? Auntie will send her back to her rural hometown." "Okay, you and Jingheng have such a deep emotional foundation. Without her causing trouble in between, you two will definitely reconcile. When the time comes, you can acquire that brand and then make Jingheng work for you as a punishment." "Alright, Mom." Zhou Jingheng pulled Jiang Xiaoluo behind him. "Didn't we come to apologize? Why are you trying to drive Xiaoluo away now? Besides, I don't like Tu Zheng at all." I sneered and spread my hands at Mrs. Zhou. "See, your son said it himself." Then I turned to Zhou Jingheng and suddenly slapped him. "I know you don't like me. A dung beetle doesn't like a gold ingot either." Zhou Jingheng was stunned by my slap. When he came to his senses, he tried to hit back but was firmly held down by Mr. and Mrs. Zhou. They were still counting on me to help their family make a comeback, but how could that be possible? Back then, I repeatedly advised them that the fashion industry wasn't so easy to enter, but they were envious of my family company's profits and insisted on jumping into this pit. Now, they can pay the price for their foolish decision. After the Zhou family was dragged away by security, my mom immediately came to check my hand. "Are you okay? You haven't fully recovered yet. How could you use so much force?" I pouted. "Who told him to insult me? Slapping him once was going easy on him. I wish I could turn into an octopus, with 8 hands taking turns slapping him." My mom sighed helplessly. All right, then Mom will turn into an octopus too, and we'll have 16 hands slapping him together." After that day, the Zhou family came looking for me several more times, but since I had already given instructions in advance, each time they were firmly stopped by the security guards. During these days, Zhou Jingheng's offline stores also shut down one after another. I guess they originally wanted to make a big splash with their couple's light luxury brand, but now they've ended up shooting themselves in the foot. It's almost laughable. Compared to me, my dad paid more attention to the Zhou family. At the dinner table, he sighed with emotion. "Judging by the Zhou family's current situation, they'll probably have to file for bankruptcy within 3 months at most." After saying this, he sneakily glanced at me. I immediately raised my hands in surrender. Dad, you've tested me 800 times already. If I were to soften my heart, may I buy soda cans without pull tabs, buy milk tea without straws, eat watermelons full of seeds, and get cut off while driving? How about that?" My dad nodded in satisfaction and withdrew his gaze. That night, as I lay in bed reading comics, my phone suddenly rang with an unfamiliar number. I was in the middle of turning a page and accidentally answered the call without thinking. The person on the other end said, "Hello," and the voice sounded somewhat familiar, though I couldn't quite place it at first. Just as I was about to ask who it was, the other person suddenly burst into tears. "Tu Zheng, I'll give your brother back to you. Can you give him a way out? I'm willing to accept any punishment. If you don't want to see me anymore, I can leave tonight. I'll go somewhere no one knows me and never bother you two again for the rest of my life." The person on the other end sobbed. "You were right. When I first came to the Zhou family, I did see them as enemies. I wanted to bring this family down every day to avenge my parents, but my brother treated me so well. He was even willing to stand up to his parents for me. I realized I shouldn't blame him for the mistakes of the previous generation." I understood. "So you're just love-struck, so your parents died for nothing." Jiang Xiaoluo choked up, seemingly not expecting me to say that. She awkwardly changed the subject. "Tu Zheng, I know you still like my brother. It's just that someone like you, a young lady from a wealthy family, isn't used to lowering your pride. You're waiting for the perfect opportunity, aren't you?" I was completely speechless. It seemed I had been too patient with her tonight. "You really are something else. No matter how you look at it, you're just clueless. What gave you the illusion that I would like someone who's completely useless? My brother isn't useless at all. He has many good qualities. Besides, we're both women. I don't believe a woman can move on from a relationship so quickly. You definitely still like my brother. It's just that he didn't give you a way out, and you're not good at backing down, which is why things ended up like this." I sneered. "Birds of a feather flock together, but people and dogs are on different paths." With that, I abruptly hung up the phone. I really don't want to recall this incident. It disgusts me every time I think about it, but I never expected that while I was trying to forget, Jiang Xiaoluo would keep stirring things up. That day, while I was working in the office, the front desk suddenly called, saying a man was making a scene and demanding to see me. "He claims you kidnapped his fiancé." I frowned, a suspicion forming in my mind. Just then, a commotion erupted on the other end of the line. The receptionist cried out in pain, followed by Zhou Jinghang's hysterical roar blaring through the receiver. "Tu Zheng, what did you say to Xiaoluo? Why did she leave a letter and disappear? And in it, she told me to take the initiative to reconcile with you and humble myself to appease you. Did you put her up to this?" I frowned impatiently and held the receiver away from my ear. "If you really have nothing better to do, why don't you swap shifts with my dog? Do you think you're Dou-Yi's little brother, Bean Sprout? You really think you're something special, don't you?" Zhou Jinghang shouted. "I checked Xiaoluo's call records, and the last call she made was to you." I grew even more annoyed. "If you can check her call records, why not just find out what she said to me? It's like the king of hell dozed off and let you pick up a skin. If you're embarrassed, go report it to the police. What good does coming to me do?" With that, I hung up the phone, utterly fed up. Half an hour later, however, the police arrived with Zhou Jinghang in tow. That idiot actually told the police I had kidnapped Jiang Xiaoluo. I had no choice but to repeat everything Jiang Xiaoluo had said and then suggested she might not have turned off her phone. "You could try locating her using her phone's GPS." At the airport, I stood with my arms crossed, coldly watching the two of them clinging to each other not far away. Because I was involved in this case, I had to waste an entire afternoon stuck with that fool Zhou Jinghang. Now, he had finally found Jiang Xiaoluo wandering outside the airport. She hadn't even bought a ticket. I even suspected that even if Zhou Jinghang hadn't come looking for her today, she would have dragged her luggage back home that night. As they embraced, Jiang Xiaoluo suddenly pushed Zhou Jinghang away. "Brother, I've decided to give you up to Sister Tu Zheng. This is the only way to save you and the company. You should go be with her now." "I have to leave." "Where do you think you're going?" I sneered as I walked over. Taking advantage of the police officer's blind spot, I swung my arm and slapped her hard, fast, and accurately. "Jiang Xiaoluo, I take back what I said earlier. You two aren't completely useless, at least when it comes to making trouble for others. You've reached the peak." Jiang Xiaoluo was stunned by my slap, covering her face as her eyes reddened. The moment her brother came out in that exaggerated, whiny tone, Zhou Jinghang raised his hand at me as if he'd been injected with adrenaline. I immediately snapped, if you dare lay a finger on me, you can expect bankruptcy proceedings within 3 days. Zhou Jingheng frowned, seizing the moment. I turned and shouted, "Officer, he's about to hit me." The police officer immediately rushed over and separated us. Jiang Xiaolua's eyes were almost as red as a rabbit's. "Sister, why are you doing this? I was just trying to help you and brother make up. You obviously still care about him." I laughed in anger. Yes, I care about him. I care about whether he lives or dies. If you keep using me as seasoning for your little love story, I'll toss both of you into a pot and see which burns faster, the gas or your cheap selves." After that last remark, I glanced at the police officer and added, "Yes, that slap. Consider it my final warning. If you dare harass me again, I promise I'll slap you so hard even your own mother won't recognize you." The air fell so silent you could hear a pin drop. Zhou Jingheng's face twisted with rage, but an illiterate is still an illiterate. His vocabulary is so poor he couldn't even come up with a decent retort. All he could do was huff and puff like a water buffalo. Pathetic, I sneered, confirmed with the police that I was free to leave, and called my assistant. Soon, a car screeched to a halt in front of us. I pulled open the door and gave the two of them one last glance. I have a phobia of crowded spaces. I really can't stand being near people with too many schemes, so I hope this is the last time I ever see you. With that, I got straight into the car. "Goodbye," I waved behind me, "and never see you again." Extra, to vent my anger, I intercepted 2 of the Zhou family's business partners within a week. That's right, the only 2 they had left. Since they were bound to go bankrupt sooner or later, I figured I might as well give them a push. However, I never expected that Mr. and Mrs. Zhou, realizing there was no way out, would change the legal representative to Jiang Xiaoluo overnight, then quickly transfer assets and destroy financial records. That's a surefire way to end up in prison. Zhou Jingheng had no idea about any of this. It wasn't until his parents tricked him into going to the airport that he received Jiang Xiaolua's desperate call for help. In an instant, he went berserk, trying to jump out of the car and even threatening suicide. With no other choice, Mr. and Mrs. Zhou let him go. Mrs. Zhou wept uncontrollably, while Mr. Zhou roared, "What are you crying for? It's like we gave birth to a piece of trash." But this trash son soon betrayed them. Before the old couple could even enjoy a week abroad, Zhou Jingheng tricked them into returning to the country. When the handcuffs were slapped on, several police officers struggled to restrain Mr. Zhou. He kicked Zhou Jingheng again and again until he coughed up blood and lay on the ground, barely breathing. "My whole life has been ruined by you, and now Xiaolua's life is ruined too." Zhou Jingheng shot back, "Go to hell, you're the one whose brain is fried." Mr. Zhou tried to lunge at him again but was ultimately pulled back by a reluctant Mrs. Zhou. These scenes became the talk of the town, repeated over and over during casual conversations, but when it came to Zhou Jingheng, people didn't know whether to despise him or pity him. How could someone with such a good hand play it so poorly, sending his entire family to prison for a reunion? After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. To celebrate my brother's birthday, Mom made a peanut cake by hand. My brother is allergic to peanuts. After accidentally eating them, he had difficulty breathing, so I reached into his throat to induce vomiting. My brother struggled desperately, and I held his neck, my hands covered in vomit. She screamed, picked up the scalding soup, and splashed it on my face. "Ungrateful wretch, you're jealous of your brother and want to strangle him." She picked up her younger brother and headed to the hospital. Before leaving, she forced the cake covered in crushed peanuts into my mouth. "Too, am allergic to peanuts," and locked the door. "Since you love eating so much, finish it all for me." In the suffocating agony, I still wondered, when my body turns cold, will they regret it? Opening my eyes again, the buzzing sound of a blender filled my ears. The air was filled with the scent of peanut butter. I sat up abruptly, my back soaked in cold sweat. Instinctively, I clutched my collar, gasping for breath. "Chen Zhaodi, you lazy girl, how long are you going to sleep? Can't you see I'm busy? Get up and peel the garlic right now." From the kitchen came the sharp and harsh scolding of my mother, Li Chui, carrying a tone of unquestionable authority. I lowered my head to look at my own hands. There were no blisters from burns, no scratches left from being forced to eat cake. Had come back to life, living on the day of my younger brother's 10th birthday. It was the same in my previous life. Li Chui, in order to showcase her motherly love, insisted on making a luxurious cake for her precious son, Chen Bao. With her own hands, Chen Bao is allergic to peanuts, and so am I. The whole family knows about this, but Li Chui is a woman with no common sense and is stubborn. She heard from Aunt Wang next door that peanut butter makes cakes fragrant, so she bought a large jar. She even specially bought raw peanuts to roast and crush herself, saying that only then would it be genuine. In my previous life, I smelled something off and rushed into the kitchen to warn her. What did she say? She smacked me hard on the forehead with that batter-covered spoon, rolling her eyes as she scolded me. You're just being delicate. Are you some kind of royal princess to have allergies? I think you're just greedy and want to sneak a bite. You're the older sister. Stop thinking about competing with your brother for the good stuff all the time. I put eggs and milk in this cake. It's nutritious. What's the big deal with a little peanut? High heat kills all the germs. She ignorantly believed that allergies were just a sign of being overly sensitive, or that high temperatures could kill any toxins. I didn't give up. When the cake was done baking, I tried to scrape off the layer of crushed peanuts while she wasn't looking, but she caught me and slapped me across the face, accusing me of being jealous of my brother and trying to ruin his birthday cake. Later, Chen Bao ate. Chen Bao had difficulty breathing, and his face swelled up like a pig's head. I panicked and wanted to save him. In the end, I was misunderstood, had hot soup thrown on me, was force-fed a poison cake, and suffocated to death in that dark storage room. Before I died, I heard the siren of an ambulance outside the door, along with Li Chui's heartbroken cries for Chen Bao, but no one remembered that I, locked inside the room, was also her biological daughter, and I was also allergic to peanuts. At this thought, the fear in my eyes gradually faded away. I slowly put on my shoes and walked out of the room. In the kitchen, Li Chui was humming a tune as she poured half a jar of peanut butter into the batter. The smell hit my nostrils, and if it were before, I would have instinctively held my breath, reminding her that this was a deadly thing. But now, leaning against the doorframe, I watched her flushed face, a slight smile curling at the corner of my mouth. Since you think it's something good, I won't stop you. After all, that was the blessing you personally prepared for your favorite son. Li Chui turned around and saw me, her brows immediately furrowing, standing there like a door god. Hurry up and clear the table. Your dad is coming home early today, and your second aunt and the others are coming too. If you embarrass me, I'll skin you alive. I didn't say a word and turned to clean the living room. On the coffee table were Chen Bao's toys, with Lego bricks and snack bags scattered everywhere. I mechanically tidied up, but my mind was busy calculating. I died too early in my previous life, so I don't know what ultimately happened to Chen Bao, but with Li Chui's overprotective nature, even if Chen Bao died, she would have shifted the blame entirely, perhaps even pinning it on the peanut vendor or dumping all the blame on me, who was already dead. They say I was jealous of my brother and secretly poisoned him. She is capable of doing such a thing. Since fate has given me a second chance, I will not only survive, but I will also watch them reap what they have sown. Sis, where's my Ultraman? A chubby figure rushed out and kicked me in the shin. 10-year-old Chen Bao already weighed nearly 100 pounds, and the kick was quite forceful. I gasped in pain and looked up at him. Chen Bao's face was full of fleshy folds, his eyes squeezed into slits by the fat, and he was glaring at me fiercely at that moment. In this house, he is the crown prince, I am the maid. Under the sofa, I pointed. Chen Bao crouched down and rummaged for a long time. When he pulled it out, he disdainfully patted off the dust, then spat at me. Useless thing, can't even keep an eye on a toy. This tone is exactly like Li Chui's, and it even mimics Dad Chin Chong's condescending manner. In the past, I would have felt wronged, tried to please him, saved up my pocket money to buy him cards, just hoping he would call me sister. Now, I just feel disgusted. Bauer, come quickly, Li Chui called from the kitchen. Taste the cream I made. Is it sweet? Chen Bao cheered and rolled into the kitchen like a little meatball. I heard Li Chui's doting voice from inside. Oh, slow down, it's all yours. No one's going to take it from you. That dead-faced sister of yours doesn't deserve such good things. It's so delicious, Mom, there are little bits in it, so fragrant. That's right, Mom specially added that for you, to nourish your brain. I was listening in the living room, feeling a chill slowly spreading through my heart. Nourish the brain, indeed. When suffocation and oxygen deprivation lead to brain damage, it's time to nourish it properly. At 5 in the afternoon, the relatives arrived one after another. Dad Chin Chong also returned, holding a bottle of fine wine in his hand, his face glowing with a healthy flush. today is my son's 10th birthday, everyone, eat and drink well. Auntie smiled and praised Chen Bao for being strong and blessed. I carried the dishes to the table and silently sat in the farthest corner. The table was laden with sumptuous dishes, there were no bowl or chopstick set for me. This was the norm in this household, and I had grown accustomed to fetching a chipped bowl from the kitchen, scooping some plain rice, adding a few bites of leftovers, and retreating to my room to eat. But today, I didn't move, I just sat there, quietly watching. Xiaodi, what are you doing sitting there? Aren't there leftover buns from last night in the kitchen? Don't be in the way here, the table is too crowded. Chen Chong frowned, waving his hand dismissively. Auntie hypocritically advised, oh, brother-in-law, it's Bao's birthday, what's wrong with letting the child have some meat? Is she worthy? She only ranked in the top 10 in the grade on the exam. It's embarrassing. Bao may have come in last, but he's smart, he just doesn't put his mind to studying. Li Chui brought out the huge two-tiered cake. The cake was lopsided, piled high with low-quality non-dairy cream, and most noticeably, covered with a thick layer of crushed peanuts. The aroma was irresistible for those with allergies. This was the scythe of death. Wow, cake. Chen Bao's eyes lit up as he grabbed a fork, ready to dig in. Wait, make a wish first. Li Chui stopped him, her face beaming with happiness. Son, make a wish, to get into Tsinghua or Peking University in the future and become a high-ranking official. Chen Bao impatiently closed his eyes. I want to eat McDonald's every day, and I want to play on my phone without anyone bothering me. All right, whatever you say. The candle was blown out. Li Chui cut a large piece, almost entirely covered in crushed peanuts, placed it on a plate, and handed it to Chen Bao. Hurry up and eat, this is the result of your mom's hard work all day. Chen Bao couldn't wait any longer, he speared a large piece with his fork and stuffed it into his mouth. I watched him chew, watched his Adam's apple bob as he swallowed. At that moment, my fingers lightly tapped against my knee, 1, twice, 3 times. It's delicious, Mom, it's so fragrant. Chen Bao's mouth was smeared with cream as he took another bite. Li Chui smiled so broadly that her eyes crinkled, turning to look at Chen Chong. See, I told you our son likes this flavor. Chen Chong took a sip of wine and nodded. Being able to eat is a blessing. I smiled along with them. It truly is a blessing indeed. The incident happened when Chen Bao was eating his third piece. He suddenly stopped moving, the fork in his hand clattering onto the table with a sharp clang. Cough, cough. Chen Bao began clawing at his neck, his face turning bright red. What's wrong? Choking. Auntie was the first to notice something was off and quickly poured him a glass of water. Li Chui immediately patted Chen Bao's back. Take your time eating, no one's rushing you, have a sip of water to help it go down. Chen Bao pushed the water glass away, opening his mouth wide, gasping for air like a fish out of water. His lips visibly swelled up, turning a purplish-red color. That's a typical precursor to anaphylactic shock. Laryngeal edema. Bao Bao, what's wrong? Bao Bao, Li Chui panicked, her voice cracking. Chen Chong also threw down his wine glass and rushed over. Is it a fish bone stuck? Say something. Chen Bao could no longer speak, his eyes rolling back, his hands clawing wildly in the air, his nails tearing his neck until it was bloody and mangled. Hurry, Heimlich, is it stuck? Second aunt shouted. Chen Chong was a rough man, strong and powerful. He grabbed Chen Bao from behind and began forcefully thrusting against his abdomen. Once, twice, 3 times. Chen Bao struggled in agony, his eyes bulging out. It's not a foreign object stuck at all, this is an allergic reaction, a closure of the airway. The harder you press on the abdomen, the more uncomfortable it makes him. Vomit surges up, blocking the throat, which is even more fatal. I sat in the corner, watching this farce coldly. In my previous life, it was at this moment that I rushed over, trying to make him vomit, wanting to tell them it was an allergic reaction. So what happened? This time, I picked up the teacup in front of me and took a gentle sip. The tea had cooled, tasting a bit astringent. Nothing's coming out, what's going on? Chen Chong was sweating profusely, growing anxious as well. Chen Bao's body began to convulse, his face turning from purplish red to bluish purple. Is he possessed by evil spirits? Li Chui screamed, starting to pinch Chen Bao's philtrum. Bao, don't scare your mom, wake up, take him to the hospital. Quick, take him to the hospital. Second aunt finally snapped out of it, pulling out her phone to call 120. It was only then that Li Chui's panicked gaze suddenly swept over me. Seeing me sitting there calmly, she seemed to have found an outlet for her emotions and rushed over like a madwoman, slapping me across the face. Your brother is about to die, and you're just sitting here. Are you even human? Why aren't you saving him? My cheek stung with a burning pain. I turned my head aside, licked the taste of blood at the corner of my mouth, and looked at her with calm eyes. Mom, I'm not a doctor, Dad is. Already trying to save him. What good would it do for me to go over and cause trouble? What if I accidentally hurt my brother? Wouldn't you beat me to death then? You. Li Shui was so angry she was speechless, and wanted to strike again. Stop arguing. Has the car arrived yet? Chen Chong picked up the nearly unconscious Chen Bao and rushed outside. A crowd of people surged out the door. Li Shui glared at me fiercely. You stay at home. If anything happens to Bauer, I'll skin you alive when I get back. The door slammed shut. The room fell silent once more. All that remained was the mess on the table and the half-eaten peanut cake, still exuding its lethal aroma. I stood up and walked over to the cake. Reaching out, I dipped a finger into the cream and brought it to my nose to sniff. It smells so good. This is also the coffin lid prepared for me. I dumped the remaining cake, along with the plate, straight into the trash can. Then I took out the old phone hidden under the sofa. It was the one Chen Chong replaced last year, which I secretly picked up and repaired. I turn on the recording function and review the entire process I just captured, from Chen Bao eating the cake, to falling ill, to their incorrect first aid, and then to Li Chui's scolding and hitting me. Crystal clear. This is my protective talisman. That night, no one came home. I slept soundly. Early the next morning, I was awakened by the sound of someone banging on the door. Li Chui, with disheveled hair and swollen, red eyes, rushed into my room like a demon and started rummaging through the drawers and cabinets without saying a word. Where's the money? The New Year's money you've been saving? Hand it over. I sat on the bed, hugging my knees. Mom, what New Year's money? Don't you take all the red envelopes every year? Bullshit. Your grandma secretly gave you some last year. Don't think I don't know. Hurry up and hand it over. Your brother is still lying in the ICU, waiting for the money to save his life. Li Chui screamed hysterically, grabbing my school bag and dumping all the books inside onto the floor. So he didn't die after all. Lucky to be alive. But being in the ICU, the medical expenses are no small amount. I really don't have any. I lowered my gaze. You took it all to buy sneakers for your brother, don't you remember? Li Chui paused, seeming to recall that there was indeed such a thing. She froze for 2 seconds, then turned and kicked me. Useless waste of space. What's the point of raising you all these years, with such a big crisis at home? You can't even come up with a single penny. Furious, she went to rummage through Chen Chong's drawer again. Mom, what exactly happened to my brother? I asked, pretending to be concerned. The doctor said it's laryngeal edema caused by a severe allergic reaction, and the brain was deprived of oxygen for too long. At this point, Li Chui burst into tears. My precious boy, what if he ends up with brain damage? It's all that peanut seller's fault. The peanuts must have been unclean. I'm going to sue him. Sure enough, even at this point, she still refused to admit that her own ignorance had harmed her son. Mom, isn't my brother allergic to peanuts? I gently reminded her. Our whole family knows that. Li Chui suddenly turned around, her eyes fierce as if she wanted to devour someone. Shut up. What allergy? That's just an excuse. He's eaten peanut brittle before, and nothing happened. It must be that the peanuts this time were bad, or it was you. She suddenly moved closer to me, staring intently into my eyes. It was the water you poured that was the problem. Did you poison the water? Huh? Her twisted logic made me want to laugh. Mom, it was Auntie who poured the water yesterday. I didn't even go near the table. Li Chui was left speechless, but soon found a new reason. Then it's your bad luck. You've brought misfortune to your brother. I always knew you were a jinx. I should have strangled you when you were born. Unable to find any money in the room, she left, cursing and grumbling. Before leaving, she turned off the main power switch at home, saying it was to save electricity. You stay home and reflect on your mistakes. You're not allowed to go out without my permission, and don't even think about eating. The money saved will go toward your brother's treatment. With the heavy slam of the security door, I was locked inside the dimly lit room. I reached into my pocket and felt the bank card. That was what Grandma secretly slipped to me before she passed away, containing 5,000 yuan inside. Li Chui doesn't know about the existence of this card. This is the seed money for me to escape this hell, but I can't just run away. I need to properly teach my parents how to be decent people and make them regret their antisocial behavior. I was locked up at home for 2 days. During those 2 days, I survived on biscuits and bottled water I had previously hidden under the bed. On the evening of the 3rd day, Chen Chong returned. He reeked of alcohol, unshaven, and looked 10 years older. As soon as he entered the door, he slumped onto the sofa, burying his head in his hands. I'm out of money. I've borrowed from everyone. Li Chui followed closely behind, her face filled with distress. What do we do then? The doctor said he still needs hyperbaric oxygen therapy and imported medication. Stopping even for a day could be fatal. The house. Chen Chong looked up, his eyes red. Let's sell the house. No, Li Chui shrieked. This house is for Bauer to get married. Where will we live if we sell it? Where will Bauer live when he gets better? Then what do you suggest we do? Watch him die, Chen Chong roared, smashing a cup on the coffee table into pieces. Li Chui flinched and shrank back. Suddenly, her gaze shifted toward the closed door of my room. At that moment, through the crack in the door, I saw the calculating glint in her eyes. Old Chen, don't we still have a daughter? Shouty, Chen Chong frowned. She's only 18, what use could she be? She wouldn't fetch much even if we sold her. Not selling, we could find her a husband. Li Chui lowered her voice, but I heard every word clearly. That old Lu from the neighboring village has been looking for a wife, hasn't he? He's famously wealthy and could offer a bride price of this much. She held up 5 fingers. 500,000. No, in their eyes, I'm probably only worth 50,000. Old Lu. Chen Chong was taken aback. That old thing is already 60, lame in one leg. And I heard he's had 3 wives die before. Oh dear, as long as we get the money, it's fine. Zhaodi is tough, she won't be easily harmed. Besides, once we have the money to save Bauer, we can always stand up for Zhaodi and her husband's family later, right? Li Chui urged anxiously. Chen Chong fell silent. After a long while, he took a deep drag of his cigarette and exhaled a thick cloud of smoke. All right, you go and make contact. The sooner, the better. I stood behind the door, clenching my fists so tightly that my nails dug deep into my palms. These are my biological parents. For the sake of the son, she pushed her daughter into the fire without hesitation. Since you are unkind, don't blame me for being unjust. I took out my phone and dialed a number. That's the phone number of Dragon Brother, who specializes in collecting high-interest loans. In my previous life, Chen Chong borrowed a high-interest loan to buy Chen Bao the latest gaming console. Later, when the interest snowballed and he couldn't repay it, he took the pair of gold earrings my grandmother left me to settle the debt. This time, I'm going to take the initiative to invite the wolf into the house. Hey, is this Brother Long? I'm Chen Chong's daughter. I know where my dad is, and I know he just sold the house, has a large sum of cash on hand, and is planning to run away. After hanging up the phone, I deleted the call history completely. The next day, Li Chui unexpectedly made me breakfast. It was a bowl of watery porridge with only a few grains of rice and a half-stale steamed bun. Zhaodi, eat quickly, she said with a stiff smile on her face. After you finish, Mom will take you to buy some new clothes. I knew this meant she was taking me to a matchmaking meeting, or rather, to inspect the goods. I obediently drank the porridge, pretending to be pleasantly surprised. Mom, are you really buying me clothes? Really, really, you're not young anymore. It's time to dress up a bit. A flash of impatience crossed Li Chui's eyes, but she held it back. Just as we were about to leave, a violent banging suddenly came from the door. Chen Chong, get the hell out here. The rough shout shook loose dust from the hallway. Chen Chong was still asleep. Startled awake, he ran out in his underwear. Who is it this early in the morning? The door was kicked open with a forceful blow. Several burly men with tattooed arms barged in. The bald man leading them was none other than Dragon. Brother Long, what brings you here? Chen Chong's face instantly turned pale, and his legs began to tremble. Cut the crap. I heard you sold your house and are planning to run away. When are you going to pay back the $30,000 you owe me? Brother Long grabbed him by the collar and lifted him up. And no, I didn't sell it. Who's spreading rumors? Chen Chong stammered in fear. You didn't sell it. Then hurry up and pay me back. With interest. That's $50,000. 50,000. Wasn't it 30,000? That was last month. Do you think interest doesn't increase? Li Chui screamed from the side. This is robbery. We're going to call the police. Call the police. Brother Long sneered, slapping Li Chui across the face with the back of his hand. Paying back what you owe is only right. Keep talking nonsense and I'll beat you up too. The house instantly fell into chaos. The burly men started smashing things. The television, the refrigerator, anything they could get their hands on. I huddled in the corner, pretending to tremble in fear, but in reality, I was just coldly observing. Stop smashing, stop, we'll pay, Chen Chong cried out. Just give us a few more days, we're about to marry off our daughter, the bride price money will be here soon. Brother Long paused, his gaze falling on me, looking me up and down. This scrawny girl, How much can she be worth? She's worth 100,000, really. Old Lou from the next village promised 100,000, in a desperate bid to save her life. Li Chui blurted out a wild claim. Brother Long stroked his chin, a playful smile spreading across his face. 100,000, all right, then I'll wait right here. We leave when the money arrives. He settled into the sofa with an imposing air, commanding his underlings, keep an eye on them, don't let them run. Chen Chong and Li Chui slumped to the ground, their faces ashen. The plan had been disrupted. Old Lou hadn't been persuaded yet, and now this fearsome dragon of a man, Long Gu, was stubbornly refusing to leave. What's more, Chen Bao was still in the hospital, waiting for money to save his life. The hospital's collection calls kept coming one after another. Are you Chen Bao's family? The patient's condition has worsened, with organ failure. Dialysis must be performed immediately. Please pay the fees right away. Li Chui listened to the voice on the phone and broke down sobbing. Money? Where would we get the money? This is just going to drive us mother and child to our deaths. Suddenly, as if she had thought of something, she abruptly raised her head and stared at me intently. That look in her eyes was more venomous, more frenzied than any before. Zhaodi, you're the older sister, you should save your brother, right? She crawled over, grabbed my ankle, and dug her nails into my flesh. Your kidney, the doctor said, as long as the match is successful, a kidney can sell for a lot of money. No, I mean transplant. Transplant it to your brother. My heart skipped a beat. This never happened in my previous life. It seems they've been pushed to the brink, and all sorts of inhumane ideas are surfacing. Mom, what are you talking about? I pretended not to understand, my voice trembling. I'm a human being. How can I sell my kidney? Not selling to outsiders. It's for your brother. Li Chui spoke incoherently. Losing one kidney won't kill you, but if your brother dies, it's really over. Let's go. We're heading to the hospital for a match test right now. Chen Chong also snapped back to reality, as if grasping at a lifeline. Right, go for the match test. You're siblings, so it's bound to be a match. He didn't even care that Brother Long was present, rushing over to grab me. Brother Long watched the scene with great interest, not stopping them at all. Instead, he lit a cigarette and remarked, well, this plot is getting intense. Selling your daughter isn't enough. Now you want to dig out her heart and lungs too. I struggled desperately, backing up to the edge of the balcony. I won't go. Why should I give him my kidney? He's the one who overate. It's you, Mom, who spoiled him. Why should I pay the price? Because you're the older sister, because we raised you all these years. Chen Chong roared, slapping her across the face. I dodged them. I don't owe you anything. Since I was little, I've eaten leftovers, worn hand-me-downs, and acted as your maid. I've long since paid you back. Pay it off. Not unless you're dead, Li Chui shrieked, lunging forward. At that very moment, my phone rang. It's an unfamiliar number. Amid the chaos, I answered the call and put it on speakerphone. A deep male voice came through. Is this Chen Zhaodi? We're from the City Hospital Blood Bank. We just checked your previous medical records, and your blood type is Rh negative, commonly known as panda blood. Your brother is currently bleeding heavily and urgently needs a transfusion. The blood bank is running low, and you're the only one who can save him. The entire hall fell dead silent, even Brother Long was stunned. Panda blood. Both Chen Chong and Li Chui have common blood types. How could they possibly have a daughter with panda blood? Li Chui's face instantly turned deathly pale, devoid of any color, her lips trembling. She looked at Chen Chong. Chen Chong was also stunned. Then, his face turned from red to white, then to green, and finally to a liver-like purple. He turned to look at Li Chui, his eyes filled with suspicion and fury. Panda blood? I'm type O, you're type B. Where did panda blood come from? Li Chui panicked, completely panicked. I don't know, maybe the hospital made a mistake. Mistake my ass. Chen Chong grabbed Li Chui's hair and slammed her head against the wall. You bitch, you've been cheating on me. Whose bastard is Chen Zhaodi? No, she's not a bastard, she's your own flesh and blood. Li Chui screamed in agony. I stood by the balcony, watching this dog-eat-dog drama unfold, a cold sneer in my heart. Actually, I knew it all along. That so-called medical report was forged by me. That phone call was made by someone I paid. I am indeed not a panda blood type, but I know an even more explosive secret, a secret that could completely destroy this family. Since you want my life, I'll blow this family to pieces first. Chen Chong went berserk, violently beating Li Chui. These 20 years of dissatisfaction seemed to have finally found an outlet. It turned out his wife had been cheating on him. Li Chui was beaten until her face was covered in blood, crying and begging for mercy. Yet she couldn't explain the blood type issue no matter how hard she tried. After all, in Chen Chang's mind, even the slightest seed of doubt could grow into a towering tree. Brother Long and his men watched the spectacle with great interest, even taking out their phones to record the scene. Stop fighting, someone's going to get killed. Li Chui scurried around, finally hiding under the dining table. I'm going to beat you to death today, you slut. Chen Chang grabbed a chair and was about to smash it down. Wait, I spoke. The voice wasn't loud, but it was exceptionally clear amidst the chaos. Chen Chang paused, his eyes bloodshot as he glared at me. You bastard, you want to die too? I pulled out the long-prepared paternity test report, a photocopy, from my pocket. This was something I had accidentally discovered while sorting through my belongings in my previous life. It turned out I wasn't their biological child. I was either swapped by mistake or intentionally switched, but that's not important. What matters is that I know Chen Bao isn't Chen Chang's child either. That's the biggest bombshell. Dad, don't rush to hit Mom. Take a look at this first. I threw the paper over. Chen Chang picked it up, glanced at it, and his hands began to tremble violently. It was a paternity test report about him and Chen Bao. Result: excluded biological father-son relationship. This was a fake report I had photoshopped overnight and mixed into that pile of old newspapers, pretending it had been discovered. Truth doesn't matter. What matters is whether Chen Chang believes it. Where did this come from? Chen Chang roared, his eyes bulging out of his head. I found it under Mom's mattress. I lied without batting an eye, looking at the date. It's from last year. I guess Mom knew about it a long time ago and has been keeping it from you. Li Chui. That roar could practically lift the roof off the building. If earlier I had only suspected I wasn't the biological father, now I was certain I had been a living cuckold for 10 years, slaving away for someone else's child, even going bankrupt to save that bastard. Li Chui peeked out from under the table, saw the paper, and was completely stunned. No, this isn't true. Old Chen, listen to me. Bao Bao is definitely yours. That wretched girl is framing me. Framed. This is in black and white with the hospital's official seal. Chen Chang had completely lost his sanity at this point. He thought of Chen Bao's small eyes, which didn't resemble his own, of Li Chui's boundless doting on Chen Bao, and then of that phone call just now. Everything made sense now. No wonder she's so stingy with me but so generous with that brat. Turns out she's raising someone else's son. Chen Chang threw down the chair, turned around, rushed into the kitchen, and came out holding a kitchen knife. Murder. Brother Long, seeing that things had gone too far, quickly retreated to the door with his men. Well, you know, grievances have their source, debts have their debtor. You settle your family matters yourselves. I'll come back tomorrow to collect the body. Collect the money. The security door was shut. Left in the room were only Chen Chang, holding a knife, the desperate Li Chui, and me, watching coldly from the sidelines. Old Chen, calm down. It's really a misunderstanding. We can go for another test. Li Chui knelt on the ground, kowtowing. Test my ass. I'm going to the hospital right now to kill that little bastard, then come back and kill you. Chen Chang grabbed a knife and rushed outside. Li Chui clung desperately to his leg. You can't. That's your own son. How can you be so heartless? The two of them wrestled fiercely. I watched quietly, then silently unlocked the door. While they were rolling and fighting, I slipped out. Before leaving, I turned back for one last look. Chen Chang kicked Li Chui away, and she crashed into the corner, knocked unconscious. Chen Chang, his face covered in blood, charged downstairs with a knife in hand. Target: City Hospital ICU. I called the police. The reason is domestic violence and knife assault. The police arrived quickly. After all, it was a case of wielding a knife in public, but I didn't stay at the scene. Instead, I went to an internet cafe far from home. I posted that video online. I've already thought of the headline. #Evil mother forces allergen feeding to commit insurance fraud. 10-year-old boy fighting for his life in ICU. That's right, I'm going to add fuel to the fire. In the video, Li Chui's line, high-temperature sterilization, and the scene of forced feeding, paired with subtitles, are truly shocking to the core. Soon, the video went viral. The anger of netizens is overwhelming. This is no mother. This is a murderer. Ignorance is truly terrifying. Allergies can indeed be fatal. Poor child, stuck with such parents. This poor sister almost got beaten to death by that crazy woman. Public opinion spread even faster than I had imagined. That evening, the city hospital became a hotspot for online influencers. Surrounded by countless reporters and angry citizens, and Chen Chang was unable to rush into the ICU. He was subdued by the police at the hospital entrance because he was brandishing a kitchen knife, threatening to kill the bastard inside, causing great panic. After Li Chui woke up, she was faced with an empty home and a mess all over the floor, and the ultimatum left by Brother Long. She wanted to go to the hospital to see her son, but was surrounded by reporters and had rotten eggs thrown at her. That video completely turned her into a public enemy. Everyone was cursing her. The maternal love she took pride in became a laughingstock and evidence of guilt across the entire internet. A few days later, I met Li Chui at the police station. She looked as if she had aged decades. With graying hair and dull eyes, she was detained on suspicion of child abuse and intentional injury. Although Chen Bao was saved, he became a vegetative state due to prolonged cerebral hypoxia. From now on, I can only lie in bed, needing someone to take care of my every need, eating, drinking, and even using the toilet. For Li Chui, this is worse than death. All her life, she had pinned her hopes on her son making something of himself. Now, that dream is completely shattered. Xiaodi, she cried out to me through the iron bars, "Are you here to see your mom? Mom knows she was wrong. Can you take down that video? Can you put in a good word for me with the police?" I looked at her expressionlessly. "Mom, that paternity test was fake," I said calmly. Li Chui froze, her eyes widening abruptly. "What did you say? Chen Bao is Dad's biological son. That document was photoshopped by me." Li Chui's mouth fell open, and a gurgling sound escaped her throat, as if someone had grabbed her by the neck. You vicious." I laughed. "Compared to you, I'm far from it. Mom, think about it. If you hadn't insisted on giving him that cake, if you hadn't refused to admit the allergy for the sake of your pride, if you hadn't been so biased all along, would things have turned out this way? You destroyed your favorite son with your own hands, and you destroyed this family with your own hands. By the way, Dad will be in there for several years because of causing trouble with a knife. The house has already been repossessed by the bank due to missed payments. When you get out, not only will you have no home to return to, but you'll also be saddled with massive debt and have to care for a son who's in a vegetative state. This is your reward." Li Chui's eyes rolled back, and she fainted on the spot. Stepping out of the police station, the sunlight felt a bit harsh. I took a deep breath. The air carried no scent of peanuts, only the fragrance of freedom. With the money my grandmother left me, I went to a city where no one knew me. While working part-time, I studied for the college entrance exam again and was admitted to a prestigious university. I also went to the hospital for a detailed checkup. And it turns out I am indeed allergic to peanuts, but not severely. I just need to carry medication with me. A few years later, I heard that Chen Chong had his leg broken in prison due to a fight. After Li Chui was released, she made a living by collecting garbage, dragging her vegetative son along, and lived under a bridge. She would tell everyone she met that her daughter was a big boss and would come to take her to enjoy a life of luxury, but no one believed her, thinking she was just a madwoman. Occasionally, I think back to that afternoon filled with the scent of peanut butter, remember the previous life that ended in suffocation. Then I buy a delicate little cake, the kind without any peanuts. Bite by bite, I eat it up. So sweet. Everything had settled. My life has just begun. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinion.